Yeah, we're live. Hi, guys.
I get this newspaper, and this newspaper I read, it says President and Vice President of the United States was assassinated. And when I look up, I see Russian, Chinese, Israelis, I see the Arabic flags, I see Italy, and many countries. I asked God what he was reading, and when he interpreted, he said, "Son, this has to happen, it shall pass."
Welcome to God's Voice Daily. I'm your host, Vladimir Proknevsky, and this is the channel where I share daily phone calls with people from around the world who've had real supernatural encounters with Jesus, angels, demons, and everything in between. Some of these calls go on to become full episodes on our main show called God's Voice Today, but here you will hear them raw and unfiltered, just the way they happen. So without any further ado, let's dive into today's featured call. Enjoy. You had a cardiac arrest and you saw Jesus. Tell me more.
Yeah, it was after the Hurricane Milton back in October. I was last year, and I was driving. I stopped by to, use the outside. I didn't realize I stepped into a pile of fire ants.
Oh.
And I caught a severe allergic reaction as I was driving. And I was controlling my breathing because I didn't want to panic or anything. And right in front of me was when I was losing my vision and about to pass out, I seen a semi truck. And then when I looked to my right, there was a guy in all white dress and waving to me. So I went to my right and went into a ditch. So I woke up in a hospital. And when I woke up in the hospital, the officer came and she was asking me a question. I asked her, I said, did I hit the guy that was on the corner? She said, no, it was a mailbox.
Wow.
What did you say? Was it a mailbox?
Yeah, it was a mailbox.
So who do you think that was? So you think that was Jesus waving at you?
Yes. It's not the first time that he came to me. He came to me a couple of times in dreams.
Oh, but that one was as real can be, right?
Yes.
What did he look like, Samuel?
He's beautiful. He is beautiful. I know when you look at a picture of Jesus, like in reality, he looks nothing like that. The way I've seen, he's really beautiful. He has nice woolly beard and woolly hair, and his eyes are like wineish honey.
But he didn't say anything to you or anything like that. Just waved, right?
Yeah, he was just waving.
Probably with a lot of urgency, trying to get you out of harm's way.
Yes.
Well, tell me more. You said you had another experience with Jesus. Tell me more about that one.
This one, I'll be honest, I was 16 years old, and I remember it as it's today. I could read it off of my letter that I wrote, but I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna try to interpret it the best way I can right now.
Yeah, I'd love for you to just share it raw without reading it. Just tell me how it was.
I was 16 years old.
Go ahead.
We was drafted in the United States Army. We had 2 weeks to train, and throughout those 2 weeks, I was promoted to be a sergeant. As the military was sending us on a mission. I didn't know where we was going, what they were telling us. We just had to go. So we're in a helicopter. As we're in a helicopter, I'm getting my team out. As my team is coming out, I was the last one to come out. And as I'm coming out, an RPG hit the helicopter. I fall to the ground. I was in a coma. I wake up in New York City. I believe there's a hospital somewhere out there. And when I looked out the window, I looked to my left. There was a white ship with a red cross.
Hey, boss. Good to see you, mate.
I didn't see nobody around. I just saw nothing but ruins. I go outside. As I'm scavenging for gear, looking for gear, I get this newspaper. It hits me. And this newspaper I read, it says, the president and the vice president of the United States was assassinated. And when I look up, I see Russians, Chinese, Israelis. I see the Arabic flags. I see, Italy and many countries. I asked God, what does this mean? And when
Good
he
to see you
interpreted,
too,
he
mate.
said, son, this has to happen. It shall pass. And I never understood what he meant by that.
Wow. Okay. So wait, wow. There's a lot to unpack here.
I'm right now, I'm 38 years old. And I remember this as I was 16.
Okay, I missed that. Talking to you fast. So let's do that.
You heard it here. That's how you can start growing fruit at home and get your housemates in on the action too.
At Baby Bunting, we like a little healthy competition. That's why we're
Yeah, it's fun doing the Discord, isn't it?
20% off select.
A lot of fun.
I was promoted to be a sergeant. As the military was sending us on a mission. I didn't know where we was going, what they were telling us. We just had to go. So we're in a helicopter. As we're in a helicopter, I'm getting my team out. As my team is coming out, I was the last one to come out. And as I'm coming out, an RPG hit the helicopter. I fall to the ground. I was in a coma. I wake up in New York City. I believe there's a hospital somewhere out there. And when I looked out the window, I looked to my left. There was a white ship with a red cross. I didn't see nobody around. I just saw nothing but ruins. I go outside. As I'm scavenging for gear, I'm looking for gear. I get this newspaper that hits me. And this newspaper I read, it says, the president and the vice president of the United States was assassinated. And when I look up, I see Russians, Chinese, Israelis. I see the Arabic flags. I see, Italy and, many countries. I asked God, what does this mean? And when he interpreted, he said, son, this has to happen. It shall pass. And I never understood what he meant by that.
Wow. Okay. So wait, wow. There's a lot to unpack here.
I'm right now, I'm 38 years old. And I remember.
Live.
Never leave me.
So what do you make of this?
I believe there's something big coming, and we just not prepared for what's going to happen.
So you said Russia, Israel, China.
And I said the Arabic. So when I said Arabic, it was the whole Arab, meaning Gaza, Syria, Iraq, Iran. It's pretty big. Japan.
And so this happened when you were 16. So obviously you were not in the military then, right? Oh, I can't hear you there, Samuel. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, so you weren't in the military. This was obviously not old enough to be in the military, but this was like you were in the future?
Yeah.
Like you were one of the soldiers and you're in the thick of it, like as if this event is unfolding and you're just kind of like in the middle of all of that, right?
Yes.
Was it on American soil?
Yes, it was.
And so there was clearly like an invasion going on, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Well, I mean, this is so relevant with everything going on in the news and all these different things, especially China, Russia, and then Israel is obviously in the news, and Middle East, Arabic countries. Interesting. And what did you hear again?
He said, my son, this has to happen. It shall pass. And he said the world has to get along with each other, that nature needs to grow, and it's not going to be the same.
Can you repeat that again? The world needs to get along.
Yes. The world needs to get along. Civilization ain't going to be the same, and nature needs to grow.
What do you make of that?
It still gives me goosebumps every time I talk about it. And I try to express this to a lot of people, but they look at me like I'm a crazy person, or it's a conspiracy.
You should hear the phone calls I get. That's like every other phone call, people sharing things what you're sharing. And I'm more into like the supernatural stuff, but seems like lately people calling me about these kinds of things. So now I'm like, okay, what's happening? What is going to happen? So, but you clearly believe that there's going to be like an invasion here in the United States. Something has to do with China, Russia.
Yes, first it's going to be an assassination, and they're going to succeed.
Assassination, you said, of a vice president, right?
Yeah, it said the president and the vice president was assassinated. I just couldn't see the year and the date because it was blurry.
Wow.
Whoa. So first event, assassination, both leaders, and then invasion.
That's the only way to do it.
How soon do you think this will happen?
Great.
I mean, obviously,
I
I don't put you on the spot. You didn't see the dates.
I couldn't tell you. It could be months from now. It could be a year. It could be two. But the way everything is going, we never know.
Sobering.
I know. I had I could talk to you like for hours just to tell you what I've seen in dreams and in visions.
Tell me more. What else did you see? Is there something else that was revealed to you that kind of further validates all these different things that you've experienced?
I could tell you I had experience with two demonic figures, and then Jesus woke me up, and I wasn't even scared. I was just pondering and wondering what this means. It was Baal and the Baphomet. I couldn't interpret what they were saying. I kept saying I was light and I was bright, and my light kept flickering because they were saying something. And then when I called out Jesus, Jesus put his hand on me, and my light shined really bright like the sun. And I woke up, and still to this day I ask what this means. And the way I see it is like we get dark times is coming, and everybody's not prepared for what's going to hit.
Dark times are, and you feel like this is going to be global, right? Not just United States.
No, it's going to be global. Yeah, just not the
There's
United
no
States.
way to run except to the Father to be covered.
There are things going on you would not believe.
Strong long-term investment performance, award-winning service, and competitive phase are critical ingredients.
Interesting. What else? Is there anything else? I know people in the comments will be like, Vlad, you should have asked this. You should have asked. So I'm trying to think of all the things that I could be asking right now because there's so much to unpack here. So this was, you said a dream, but did it feel like a dream? Was it more like a vision, like the early one, the one where you saw both leaders being assassinated?
They both were dreams and visions. I remember one, I don't know what it was. I know the CIA captured somebody, and I was standing right next to him, and I can't curse. I'm not gonna curse. Believe it or not, they were trying to get an answer out of somebody, and I was trying to interpret the answer, but they shot him in the head. And when I woke up, my ears were ringing really bad. So it's like you try to decode everything. And it's just when you sit down and you watch TV and you listen to things, and you're like, wow, this has actually happened. I dreamt this a long time ago. I just don't know when it's going to happen and when it's going to come.
Why do you think the Lord revealed this to you?
Few are picked. No, wait, how it goes? Some are picked and few are chosen.
So you feel like the burden is on you to share these experiences?
Yes. You have to share the truth and not the lie.
Yeah, well, there'll be people in two camps. Some be listening to this and they'll be filled with fear, and some will be listening to this and they will be encouraged because they're walking with the Lord. And for those that are defaulting to fear, I just pray that you get to know the Lord and not fear. Because, for example, my parents, they went through persecution. Both my dad was an underground pastor in USSR, where he was threatened to be taken to Chernobyl, worked on the reactor, and never see his family again. He was constantly arrested, written up. They had to hide in the middle of the woods for prayer and everything you hear about their underground church. My family went through that. Family of 9 kids. But I tell you one thing, God protected them, because when you first seek the kingdom of God, his righteousness, everything else is added unto you. It's just that you shouldn't fear. You should run to the Father. This is a perfect time to seek the Lord, to really hear from the Lord. Because in those times, unless you hear directly from the Lord, like, for example, the Holy Spirit would tell the underground church members, like during the persecution, the times where to go for church, what time to go, what places to go, what places not to go, and everybody would be praying all at once. waiting for that next step, waiting on the Lord. And I think that will start happening more and more, where that's the only way to move. The only way, because some people will be listening to this, they'll try to like renew their passports and trying to figure out where to go and this and that's not the best option. The best option is to drop to your knees and run to the Father. Restore that relationship if you don't already have it, and hear from the Lord, because He's the one that's going to tell you where to go. He will protect His people. Is there anything else you want to share, Samuel?
His voice,
you're breaking up
God's
there.
voices. No, I said, I tell you one thing. Everybody hears God's voice different. I heard His voice twice, and it's like thunder. I don't know if He was mad at me or He was saying something, but it was thunder. But other than that, I have nothing else. But I do pray to Him every day, and I do talk to Him daily, like He's literally standing right.
Okay, that wasn't as interesting as I was hoping it'd be.
Learning about the best schools in the area is news to Rachel because it helps her daughter excel.
Raised the desecration of the temple, specifically when that might fall on what feast day, what that represents, what that half an hour of. Hey everybody, Josh Peck here. Hope you're doing well. We haven't talked about Dead Sea Scroll stuff in a while, and I want to talk about some of that, but also the Book of Revelation, the Antichrist, the desecration of the temple, specifically when that might fall on what feast day, what that represents, what that half an hour of silence is in Revelation 8, what the why the angel has this golden censer of incense and all that. Believe it or not, all of this stuff connects in really exciting ways. And it wasn't until I really dug into the Dead Sea Scrolls that I was able to piece all this together. So I'm excited to talk about this. We haven't talked about, again, like Dead Sea Scroll stuff or even prophetic timeline of the tribulation in a while, so that's what we're going to get into. By the way, I want to make mention that if you do want the notes to this, and it's not just the notes, it's pretty much the entire script of everything that I say. If you want that with all the information and everything, a couple different ways you can do that. The best way, become a member at dailyrenegade.com, and then you can download a
Hey, Johnny, good to see you.
entire episode and have all the notes, all the citations, everything. And then you have that file forever. You can keep it. That is yours. And not only that, but you get this full video plus every full video that we do, stuff that we don't put on YouTube because of censorship issues. So we have that available. Also at dailyrenegade.com, if you're a member, there's a community tab where you and other members can fellowship and talk with each other, talk about theories, anything you want. There's no censorship there. I created Daily Renegade because I was getting censorship on YouTube and Facebook constantly. And I wanted a
That's going to go to Vars head that he's got a purple crown.
place that we could talk about whatever we want and not have to deal with that. So we have that now at dailyrenegade.com. So you can do that. Also, there is joshpeck.substack.com. And if you go there, you'll still get the notes, but it's not a downloadable PDF. Some people don't want to download an extra file on their computer. It's basically just like it's an online blog. So you can sign up for a membership there, and then you get the entire blog just right there on the Substack. Not only that, but you also get the audio-only podcast version of everything we do, and that is also the full episodes. Some people don't want to deal with the video. They just like having the audio. So if you want that, that is joshpeck.substack.com. Links to everything is in the description below. And the best thing to do is just get both of them. Then you have the best of both worlds. I also want to make mention that everything we're going to talk about today in this episode of the Sharpening Report comes from my 2-volume set, Forgotten Prophecies of the Dead Sea Scrolls, which you can pick up at prophecywatchers.com if you would like that. And again, links are in the description below. All right, so all that out of the way, let's get into it. So probably a lot of you are already, if you follow this channel, you're probably familiar with the Essene calendar.
I like this guy's Essene's information. It's pretty important.
Stuff. I don't want to get too much into introducing what that is because most of you already know. And if you don't know, that's okay. Like I've got a lot of videos on this channel about it, especially at dailyrenegade.com. I have even more there. But basically, what it is the Essenes were contemporary with Pharisees and Sadducees, but they were the ones that believed that they held on to the true Jewish religion. They believed that the Pharisees and Sadducees were children of darkness. They called them that. Their interpretations of Scripture was way off.
Yeah, Shawnee, Vars is having problems in Canada with the Wi-Fi.
And the Essenes believed that they held on to the real interpretation. They also had their own, they had a calendar, which they said was the same calendar that God gave to Adam. Well, what's amazing is when you actually look at this calendar and compare it to the Bible, it is the calendar that the Bible uses from Genesis to Revelation. And I'm going to show that today. More with the Revelation stuff. I'm going to show how the Dead Sea Scroll Essene calendar works with that. Which, by the way, also, just while we're on the topic of the calendar, I do talk all about it in my books, but we also, the guy that really put this together, who really made this accessible to everybody, is Dr. Ken Johnson. He also wrote the foreword of my books, Forgotten Prophecies of the Dead Sea Scrolls. But we made available a print version of the calendar that has our Gregorian calendar on one part, and then on the other part, it has the Essene calendar. So you can actually compare, and it's a great resource. It's a great study tool. It's a very unique thing that you can't get anywhere else. And I have the link to that in the description below as well. And we do a new one every year. So, and that's really interesting because coming up coming up next year, we will be in a new Jubilee. The final Jubilee of the church age, according to the Essenes. So that's really exciting. Again, I have other videos and stuff on that. I'm not going to get too much into that in this video, but I got lots of stuff about that. So again, links in the description. But so using that calendar, that was probably one of the most fascinating things in researching for those books. That 2-volume set was that the Bible uses this calendar, and it is accurate from Genesis to Revelation. So throughout this study, I'm going to be referring to the Essene calendar. Again, so that's just a basic, real quick intro on what the Essene calendar is. I've got plenty of other videos explaining it more in depth, especially at Daily Renegade, where you can find everything. Okay, so we'll just start in the introduction, which is a prophetic interpretation and light of the Essene calendar. So there was an interesting command from an angel to the prophet Daniel that might clue us in to our own time today. So after giving some amazing prophecies, the angel tells Daniel,
wow.
But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the
I wonder if they're purposely mucking around with the net. Sounds like it, doesn't it?
time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. That's Daniel 12:4. Many of you are probably familiar with that. Now, while this verse is typically understood to indicate that the prophecies in Daniel will not be understood until the last of the last days, the book of Daniel was found among the Dead Sea Scrolls. So this means quite literally that copies of the book were sealed, encased in jars, and hidden away in caves for about 2,000 years. Then they were discovered among other scrolls that gave us the entire calendar system by which we can understand prophecies found in Daniel. Now, I don't believe this is exactly fully what the angel meant when he said, shut up the words and seal the book, but it's an interesting thought. Could this be a sign that these are the times of the end? Well, it's impossible to fully understand the prophetic timing systems used in Daniel without having access to the original biblical calendar that Daniel himself likely used. But now that we know more about the Essene calendar, Moedim cycles, and specific festival days, we can take a fresh look at some of these prophetic passages in the Bible to see if we can bring in a new insight, and we can. Now, we typically, excuse me, I got a new microphone system here that I'm still trying to get used to, but we typically view prophecy in light of the festivals by recognizing that Jesus came to fulfill the spring festivals in his first advent, and then when he returns, he'll fulfill the fall festival.
They done that to Diane's chat one day. They took away everything she said.
and we've also been given a tribulation time frame of 7 years from the book of Daniel, with the last half of the tribulation, sometimes called the Great Tribulation, being described as 3.5 years or 42 months or 1,260 days in the book of Revelation. And this is basically how the broad layout of the 70th week of Daniel, chapter 9, has been interpreted. We're going to talk about something that might challenge the idea of Jesus coming back in the fall a little bit, but that's okay. I think this tracks. And after you see all the evidence and really take time to digest this entire video, I think you might agree. So let's begin our examination of these prophetic texts with chapter 12 of Daniel. So this is going to be Daniel 12:7 and then 11 through 12. And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held his right hand and his left hand unto heaven. Hey, everyone. You know, concerning the economically unstable times that we live in, it is a great idea to convert some of your savings into real money. Now, there is a big difference between real money and what we call money, which is actually currency. So our dollar is currency, which fluctuates. Real money, like silver, is a store of value over time. The best way to think of it is like this.
Hey, Vast, Trump's got himself into some trouble with this Epstein list, hasn't he?
If you had saved $1,000 in cash back in the late 60s, the late 1960s, that $1,000 would still be $1,000 today, but it would buy you significantly less today due to inflation. Now, if you saved that same $1,000 in silver back in the 1960s, it would be around $28,000 today. So one of the best ways to protect your purchasing power is in real money, more specifically, silver. Now, you can buy and have the metal shipped discreetly to your door. And what most people don't know is that you can actually convert your IRA or even your 401k into physical silver rather than having all your life savings tied up in the paper fiat system, which is, of course, subject to hyperinflation. So go to dailyrenegade.com right now and click on the Cornerstone Asset Metals banner and sign up to get your free silver report. One of the financial experts will speak with you and find out the best way to protect your savings going forward in these uncertain.
Yeah, Vast, I hope that's the case, because you know how I troll the lefties on Facebook? They've been giving me heaps about Trump, because naturally I stick up for Trump against Sam. I'd stick up for Don Chip if it was against Sam.
Times. You can also click on the link in the description below that goes directly to cornerstoneassetmetals.com. Make sure you tell them that Josh Peck at Daily Renegade sent you. It is time to stop trusting the evil beast financial system of the world and protect your assets today.
Real life insurance really helped us when Isaac's mum passed away. We received her full cover amount, paid directly.
And swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times, and a half. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. Now we're going to go to 11 and 12. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days. Blessed is he that waiteth and cometh to the 1,305 and 30 days. Okay, so in this passage, there are 3 intervals of time that are mentioned. So among most Bible prophecy researchers today, these intervals are typically understood as time, times, and a half, 3.5 literal years. And I say most scholars say that. I didn't say that that's, or most prophecy researchers say that. That might not actually be true. We'll get into why in a minute. But then 1,290 days, so that's 1,290 literal days. And then the 1,305 and 30 days, which is 1,335 literal days. Now, interestingly, when we see what the original Hebrew says in Daniel 12:7, we might decide to interpret time, times, and a half a bit differently. So the word used for time is actually moed, which refers to the Moedim cycle, or a cycle of Jewish festivals, not necessarily a month or year time period. So it is true that one Moedim cycle would equal 1 year, because we would start at one festival and then we would end on that same festival the following year. In fact, 2 Moedim cycles would equal 2 literal years for the same reason. But half a Moedim cycle doesn't necessarily work out to half a year all the time, which is 6 months. Our full yearly Moedim cycle list from the Temple Scroll. And again, if you want more information on this, I got plenty of videos, and also the best resource is Forgotten Prophecies of the Dead Sea Scroll at prophecywatchers.com. But so the Bible lists 7, but the Temple Scroll found in the Dead Sea Scrolls has a few extra. It lists 12, and I'm going to go into why that would actually make a lot of sense. So from the Temple Scroll, most of these are probably going to sound familiar, but there's going to be a couple new ones. So the first one we have is Nisan 1, which is head of the year or spring day of remembrance. The second one is Nisan 14, which is Passover. And Nisan, if you're not familiar with that, this is just what they call their months. You know, we have January, February, March. Also, if you want a free resource for that calendar that's online, go to dsscalendar.org. Dead Sea Scroll, dsscalendar.org, and you can look this up there for free online. Dr. Ken Johnson also created that. So then we have 3, Nisan 15 through 21, which is unleavened bread. 4, Nisan 26, which is first fruits of barley. ER 14, which is second Passover. Sivan 15, which is Pentecost. Av 3, which is first fruits of new wine. Elul 22, which is first fruits of new oil. Elul 23 through 28, which is the wood offering. Tishrei 1, which is trumpets or fall day of remembrance. Tishrei 10 is Day of Atonement, and Tishrei 15 through 22 is Tabernacles. Now, and that's all 12 of them, where a half of a Moedim cycle ends would actually depend on where it starts. So it seems that this would be impossible with the typical list of 7 that we're accustomed to, because that's an odd number. How can you have half of a Moedim cycle, half of a list of 7? We would have to either have 3 sevenths or 4 sevenths. But this works beautifully on a list of 12, because 12 is an even number. Half would be 6. So we can demonstrate how half of a Moedim cycle doesn't necessarily equal 6 months. So if we started at the beginning of the year, and if this list reflects the correct number of festival days, 1/2 of a Moedim cycle from the 1st to the 6th would only bring us to Sivan 15, which is Pentecost, and that's only a third. That's only in the 3rd month of the year. So that's clear. Then that would be half of a Moedim cycle. And it's only in the 3rd month of the year. It's only 3 months. So even if we counted Pentecost as inclusive within our half of Moedim cycle, we would come to Av 3, first fruits of new wine, which occurs in the 3rd day of the 5th month. So not exactly 6 months. So that time times and half a time, that half a time doesn't mean 6 months. It means half a Moedim cycle. So what we have described in Daniel 12:7, again, it's not 3.5 calendar years, but rather 3.5 Moedim cycles. So we see a parallel usage of these words in Revelation, also in chapter 12. Revelation 12:14 says, "And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, so she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nursed for a time and times and half a time from the face of the serpent." So in the Greek, time and times is translated from kairos, which, just like moed, can mean a season relating back to Moedim cycles. So it would appear that both passages are talking about Moedim cycles. And in fact, these are both most likely describing the same Moedim cycles that concludes Daniel's 70th week. So now we can note some interesting things here from Daniel 12:1 about the 1290 days. In fact, this verse proves the final half of Daniel's 70th week isn't exactly 3.5 calendar years, but it's actually a little bit longer. There is no known calendar from the time of Daniel's writing that can accommodate 1290 days into 3.5 years. So if we work out the math, so we divide 1290 by 3.5, that equals roughly 368.58. then we discover that to make this passage describe 3.5 calendar years, each calendar year would have to consist of a little more than 368 days, which doesn't work. Even more, the number of months doesn't add up correctly. If we divide 1290, that's the days in total, by 30 days in a month, we get 43. However, we get mention of 42 months, not 43, in the prophetic timeline of the Bible from Revelation 11:2 and 13:5. So we must not be dealing with a 3.5-year calendar cycle, but rather a Moedim cycle that would accommodate all of these numbers. So we actually have a lot of clues to figure out which festivals these are. So since we know we have 1290, 1200.
Come on, get to the good stuff.
90 literal days and 3.5 Moedim cycles to work with, then we need to find a festival day that we can start at a 1290 count and end on another festival day. We know that there are 3 full Moedim cycles, and those add up to 3 full calendar years, since each cycle starts and ends on the same day. If we multiply 364, then that's 364 days in a year according to the Essene calendar, by 3 to compensate for the 3 full Moedim cycles, we arrive at 1,092 days. And you might be thinking, if you're not familiar with the calendar, well, 30 days in a month doesn't work. It does because they had what's called a leap week. So every 5 or 6 years, they would add a week to bring the solstice back to where it should be. And it does line up perfectly. So we can do this math and we know it's accurate. So again, we know that, if we multiply 364 days, because we know the time and times, those are full years because it goes from one Jewish festival to the next one the next year. So those by default are 3 full calendar years. It's that 6 months. It's not 6 months. It's that half a time that we're not sure exactly how many days it is because it's not going to be 6 months. So this is how we find out. So 3 times 364 is 1,092. So now all we have to do is subtract 1,092 from our total days of 1,290 to find out how long our half a Moedim cycle must be, which comes out to 198 days. So now we know the half of a Moedim, the times, and half a time, the half a time must be 198 days. Now, I know it can be difficult to keep all these numbers in mind, and that's why it's really good if you have the notes, because if you have the notes, you can have it all listed in front of you. So let's list them again. So we have full cycle 1, that's 364 days. That happens to be 1 calendar year. Full cycle 2, 364 days, which happens to be 1 calendar year. Then full cycle 3, 364 days happens to be 1 calendar year. So that accounts for the time and times. Now the half cycle, the half the time. We now know through the math that we just did that is 198 days, which happens to be 6 months and 16 days. So a grand total, 1290 days, it happens to be 3 years, 6 months, and 16 days. So just a little bit more than 3.5 calendar years. So now all we need to do is find 2 festival days that are 198 days apart to see when the 1290 days might begin and end. Additionally, to fulfill the half of a Moedim cycle, we need to find 2 festivals that have 4 full festivals in between them. So 1 half of a Moedim cycle totals 6 festivals. So we need to find a festival, be able to count 4 festivals after, then the next one would...
That's boring.
We're gonna bring this whole place down.
Hey, wait.
Through this crisis, I guess you would say, Spain. Boy, oh boy, I got a crazy video for you today. This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. We got this story from Jon Stewart of Elmo, apparently losing his mind. We'll get into that. We got We also have a huge story of Tomorrowland up in flames. You're not going to believe this one. And actually, that's not all. We have another place that also went up into flames that will make you think you're in the Twilight Zone. We also have a ton of other stories. Let's just get into this. So we have, of course, oh yeah, we have Europe in anarchy as well. I forgot to talk about that. Yeah, that's another one. Let's check that out.
It is anarchy in parts of Spain, France, and the UK right now, as migrant gangs from Northern Africa and the Middle East violently try to take over and intimidate innocent people.
Why are there violent migrant gangs from the Middle East and North Africa and Europe? This seems like an unforced
cultural jihad.
Really, it seems like it shouldn't happen.
Well, it shouldn't have happened, but they let it happen.
Spain is currently in crisis.
So all these countries are currently going through this crisis, I guess you would say. Spain, France, and the UK, this was all something that they could have easily avoided. We started seeing little bit remnants of this.
What, this one, boss?
What was it, the end of 2024? Was it the end of 2024? I think it was. At the end of 2024, we saw a number of gangs here taking over, of course, apartment complexes. They're telling us, oh, there's nothing happening. What are you talking about? Right? Now you can see in Europe, they're literally taking over entire, of course, neighborhoods. There's a reason why you have things in place, certain laws. And of course, now Europe is looking like...
Hey, Di, good to see you.
I mean, it's starting to look like one of these movies we've seen, these sci-fi movies at this point.
Elmo lost his
Elmo is back to his usual family-friendly content after a hacker posted racist and...
I'm guessing you might know what she was going to say next. Apparently, he went a little bit off the deep end, my friends. Here you have Elmo. Now, he claims he was hacked. He claims it. We don't know if Elmo's really telling the truth or not, but he has been saying some stuff that's rather unpleasant. As you can see here, some of these tweets are just a little bit, I would say, a lot of it over the edge, as you might imagine. Release, of course, the files, calls our president a certain name, talking about
the last one,
ethnic group in a very disparaging manner. A lot worse than that, actually.
I was just saying dates, so I didn't find it
there were
interesting.
signs that Elmo was losing his mind. On top of that, Elmo was talking longer with Jon Stewart there, and he was prying into some of the truth about this whole topic of, did he really go on this racist rant, or is it just a hacking? And here we have Elmo finally confessing the truth.
Elmo was radicalized by the manosphere. Elmo is part of the male loneliness epidemic.
Of course, Andrew Tate apparently is distancing himself from Elmo with this tweet here. You can see that Andrew Tate is saying that Elmo has now poisoned the minds of young boys for generations, vilifying masculinity and what it means to be a man. Of course, saying that he totally distanced himself from the incel, of course, movement. We have here a woman describing the incel movement. Check this out.
So an incel is just like someone who is involuntarily celibate.
Yeah.
That loser sitting on Reddit for 23 hours a day.
Yeah.
With Cheeto dust and empty Mountain Dew cans all around them.
Yeah.
And it just has
Wait a
a
second.
real stank smell that is
Wow.
involved with these people. You can kind of
Of course, some may say
Wow, they're just out and out saying it now, Diane.
that's referring to Osmongold, but of course it's not referring to him. He actually cleaned his house once in a while. And, you know, I like Osmongold. He's a good guy. But,
Diane's got a crown today. Shawnee hasn't got one. But you have, Di.
apparently he does have a few Mountain Dew cans and stuff around. The
Oh,
funny part,
man.
of course, is this woman is not exactly what you would call a model that's saying all this.
I'm just gonna paint you an image, and like the fedora is more crusty, and the beard, the neck beard is strong, but the facial hair is weak.
She's like complaining about men who, of course, are at home and obviously are not exactly out there on the dating market so much. And look at, of course, how she looks, making fun of these guys, right? Making fun of these guys while she pretty much looks like she might be about 600 pounds. I don't know. At any rate, we're going to get into a ton of stuff in this video. We're going to get into what's going on with Tomorrowland, which apparently is now up in flames. We have Area 51 up in flames. Yes, Area 51. And actually a ton of other stuff to get into. Even something that our former president just said that just is going to blow your mind. And actually some interesting new updates on this whole list or files, right? And actually some new theories. We'll get into all that. It's actually kind of interesting because we have some news updates on all that. First of all, I got to mention food supply, 25-year shelf life. Link is in the description. 3 months worth for $4.97. You definitely want to get this. Considering all the stuff going on around us, my friends, you never know what's next. Honestly, it is like we're in the Twilight Zone at this point. And I do think I know what's going to happen next because we have a number of prophets who've been predicting things all correct for the last year. Well, actually more than the last couple of years. From like literally a decade ago, some of these predictions are from. All coming true, and they're talking about what's going to come in September. So we'll get into that a little bit as well. But it obviously is not exactly what you would call a smooth ride getting there. So you might want to get this just in case. Also, this book here, The Lost Ways, How Your Great-Great-Grandfather Lived Without Electricity, by the bestseller. Do things around the house as they did in the good old days, hundreds of pages illustrated. You're going to need that book before the power goes out. In my dream, the power literally does go out. I don't know if it's symbolic or what, but it's actually about what's coming up soon here at the end of this year. So I want to get that book, the version, $37. Also, if you're interested, we do have various opportunities with regards to the game that we've been building right now, Noah VR, also called Apocryphon Genesis. We have, of course, the $400 investment opportunity where you get a percentage, you get to be in a seat with the percentage of 33% of Noah VR profits when the game is released. There's 750 other people involved in that. He actually wrote the wrong number here. This is actually 750. I'm gonna have to tell him to update that. It's 750 because we had 600 and then we added 150. That's 750. So far, we got 130 some left. A lot of people have gotten involved. If you're interested, you can gain access to these profits as well when we release the game. We also have other opportunities as well. We have a membership section. We also have other, there's like a couple different options. You can go check it out, link below. Let's get back to the video. So we have, of course, oh yeah, we have Europe in Anarchy as well. I forgot to talk about that. Yeah, that's another one. Let's check that out.
My brother's in France right now, actually.
It is anarchy in parts of Spain, France, and the UK right now, as migrant gangs from Northern Africa and the Middle East violently try to take over and intimidate innocent people.
Why are there violent migrant gangs from the Middle East and North Africa and Europe? This seems like an unforced error. Really, it seems like it shouldn't happen.
Well, it should.
It's cultural jihad. They done that in 2016. Remember when they all flooded Germany's borders from the Middle East? They were doing a cultural jihad.
It happened, but they let it happen.
Spain is currently in crisis.
So all these countries are currently going through this crisis, I guess you would say. Spain, France, and the UK. This is all something that they could have easily avoided. We started seeing little bit remnants of this back, what was it, the end of 2024? Was it the end of 2024? I think it was. At the end of 2024, we saw a number of gangs here taking over, of course, apartment complexes. They're telling us, oh, there's nothing happening. What are you talking about? Right? Europe literally taking over entire, of course, neighborhoods. There's a reason why you have things in place, certain laws. And, of course, now Europe is looking like, I mean, it's starting to look like one of these movies we've seen, these sci-fi movies.
When they tried to flood Australia with their illegal immigrant boats, we just put them on an island, locked them up and sent them home. We didn't let them come in.
Is at this point. And now we have apparently Tomorrowland, the music festival, up in flames. This was originally how it looked beforehand.
One last ride. At home, it's going to be a war.
If it's a war you want, it's a war you...
Unity Internet. Fast fiber plans built for modern life. Switch to Unity today.
Now apparently this is how it. Well, actually, this is partly through it. It actually literally took down the whole thing. The whole thing's gone. It's completely gone now. Maybe it was Elmo. Everybody's talking about Elmo. Apparently it was Elmo. After he got done raging and ranting on X, he went to Tomorrowland, and of course he had to light the flame, my friends. Elmo is guilty. He got radicalized apparently by Andrew Tate. By the way, there's a story about Andrew Tate. I didn't even want to cover it. Someone, of course, accusing him of something. I honestly don't even want to talk about it. But it's a famous social media personality. And it sounds like she's trying. I don't know if it's legit or not. I don't even want to get into it, honestly, because she's well known for a lot of drama. So I don't want to get into it. I don't want to give her any time. But you guys, you can see here, this is how it looks now. It's gone. Now, I was talking about this concert and how they had really, it looked more like a ritual, very bizarre looking. How they have some of their stages set up, some of the stuff they have them do at the concert. They even send you this tickets in the mail. It's in this box, and you open the box up, and like this crystal comes out, and then you got a little thing open here, and you pull out your ticket. It's really bizarre. It's really bizarre. And of course, that is up in flames. Could that be, could that have been from God? I don't know. Well, here you have Area 51 also up in flames, apparently. There's a massive wildfire in the area of Area 51. Is God, of course, sending us a message? I don't know. This live stream is operated from the private property overlooking the Area 51 perimeter near Rachel, Nevada. Watch day and night as activity unfolds. Strange lights, aircraft, convoys, and now smoke rising from inside the base. Oh, that's kind of weird. Maybe something's inside it. They were telling us that it was the wildfire. Why is this guy saying it's inside the base? That's a good question. But yeah, you got footage here.
Looks like a big
fire
as
well, up in flames. And of course, you have Bull Pony here talking about it a little bit, saying everything demonic is being taken out. These two places, of course. But on top of that, the question is, what is going on with our president? And also, how about his predecessor? Here we got Barack saying young, of course, boys need to have, apparently, other type of manly figures in their lives. And he's not referring to, he's referring to these guys. We're talking gay. Literally, he's saying this while he's being interviewed by his wife. Yes, the irony, of course. Let's just hear what he has to say.
Not just exposure to one guy. One dad. No matter how good the dad is.
He can't be
everything. He can't be everything.
You need GOV dad, of course. You need him too.
And then that boy may need somebody to give the boy some perspective on the dad.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
One of the most valuable things I learned as a
two dads, of course. Oh my goodness gracious.
Guy was, I had a gay professor in college at a time when.
So okay, it's just the irony of the whole thing, of course. Knowing some of the things people say, particularly about
their name, Michael.
Him saying that your son may need two dads instead of one. Then, of course, we have Hollywood actress Jamie Lee Curtis uploaded this photo and said nobody knows which of her daughters are trans, and she wouldn't have it any other way.
Man, that's the weirdest.
This lady is smiling.
The one on the left, the other
one.
one, wow, look at, oh
difference.
Man.
You have here, of course, maybe the one that looks like a melting gummy bear. I guess I'm referring to this one. See a mannish-looking woman in the middle and a person on the left who was born, of course, with quote-unquote balls. Yeah. So, sure. Yeah, so I mean, it's just kind of funny she even said that in the first place. It's just kind of. I've noticed that with women, sometimes they'll say things that they don't mean. Like they'll have a group of women.
Oh, you'll get in trouble
or
here,
women,
Tony.
and
Careful what you
they'll
say.
exalt the one that's not the prettiest and say she's the prettiest. I've seen them do this, like on Jubilee and other shows. They do this all the time. It's kind of weird, actually. Then we have here, interestingly, a story that is now being said to not be true, and I honestly can't confirm if it's true or not because of how ridiculous what's going on with the media. It's really that ridiculous. So let me just point out what's going on. So you have a lot of people were saying that there was a vote put out there between the Republicans and Democrats regarding, of course, the files.
Yeah.
And that the Republicans said, no, we're not going to release it. And if you go to, I don't know if it's Google AI or Grok, I can't remember which one I went to. I think maybe it was a ChatGPT. I can't remember who it was. Okay, let me just ask Google AI. Did Congress vote on the files? Yeah, here we go. Let's go to AI mode. Let's see what it says. Okay, the issue of releasing Democrats have made several attempts to force it. Tried to attach the amendment to cryptocurrency. There's a vote in House Rules Committee only. Okay, attempted. Okay, in short, there have been votes in Congress related to it, but the attempts to force it. Okay, so it hasn't happened. Okay, that's interesting. So at least Google AI is getting it right. That's good. I don't know what I searched. I searched it yesterday, or I don't know if maybe it was ChatGPT. I can't remember what it was. But at least now Google AI is saying it correctly. So that's good. Because I thought there was a vote. And all these media outlets were saying there's a vote. And there's only like one or two people saying there wasn't one.
Shawnee.
Which is funny because the only people that were correct is 5% of the people talking. And there's
that tinfoil hat cartoon, that was funny.
And let me just listen to Asmongold here. He talks about how ridiculous this is. Check this out.
We be retarded. Well, I'm thinking to myself, maybe people should stop being retarded. Well, I don't know what to say, guys. Yeah, this is insane. It needs a reform. Yeah, this is amazing. It's a budget bill. It's supposed to include everything. And either way, I think that it's a massive problem that you have these huge amounts of things. Instead of 4 years to release them, was barely mentioned or brought up. Nobody is demanding the release of the files. I actually believe the headline, the article is giving a full description of what happened. It just omits, and what you're seeing right now on social media, and I want you guys to see this, is that you have tons of people right now that are believing this. Let me go back and show you. Look at this. 106,000 likes. 49,000 likes.
So people are putting out this thing that was not true at all. And just millions of people are seeing it and believing it. And no one voted on this yet. No one. I even said it because I even went and checked it with an AI and it said, yeah, there was a vote on it. Apparently, even the AI even lied to me. I don't remember which one it was, though. Unfortunately, I can't remember. But at least Google AI is saying it correctly now. Maybe they updated it, or maybe, I don't know if it was Google AI. Maybe it was one of the other ones. I can't remember. Maybe, I'm guessing it was ChatGPT or Google AI. I'm not sure which one it was. But at any rate, whatever. So I have to correct myself on that, allegedly, from what I can tell on that. But it is interesting our president has been blocking this, right? But now there's this weird theory that came out. Why? Apparently they're saying that this is wild, but actually it makes sense when you think about it. It's really wild. So what they're saying is, look who had the files and the evidence for like a decade or for a long time. For a long time, this evidence was in the hands of people who are probably potentially a part of it. It would be in their best interest to delete, corrupt, whatever the evidence. I mean, imagine you're the guy who is a criminal and you're holding the evidence. Are you going to let the evidence be untainted? It's probably a dumb question because probably 90% of the time, if you're a criminal and you're trying to get away with it, probably 99% of the time, you're going to corrupt the evidence if it's in your hands or you have access to it, right?
Yeah.
Not really hard to understand that. If you're a criminal and you're not going to turn yourself in, and you got the evidence in your hands or you have some way to access it, you're going to try to corrupt the evidence, delete the evidence, do something, right? Pretty much not rocket science, right? So why is it we're assuming that when this was in the hands of the people that were part of this, that they didn't do anything to the evidence? It's kind of a dumb thing to assume that. You see what I mean? That is pretty dumb to think about. And it was amazing that I was one of the very few people to say this before. Almost no one was saying this, which is kind of funny. It's pretty obvious that, yeah, if you're part of it, you're probably going to corrupt the evidence. So what they're saying is they actually, this is what their theory, I'm not saying this theory is true. I don't know if this is true or not, okay, because there's a lot of weird stuff going on.
I use Google Chrome. I don't look up any other AI though.
Not right now. It's so hard to tell.
Oh yeah, Gabe's got a little, yeah, okay, yeah, she's got a little Google thing on, yeah.
What's going on? So what they're saying is that they corrupted the evidence to literally point to our president, like he's the one that's part of it, and all his friends are part. So you imagine, like, let's say Group A versus Group B. Group A is a bunch of criminals. Group B is trying to like get rid of the criminals. Group A has access to all the evidence that says they're criminals. They decide, hey, let's change this evidence to point to the other group and make them all guilty. We got 5 years to do it or 4 years to do it. Let's just do that real quick. So then they do it. This is just the theory scenario. I'm not saying it's true. So they point all of the evidence to our president, all his friends, put them all in there somehow. Maybe they use AI or whatever. I don't know what the hell they did. We got AI now. You can make realistic anything anymore. Tamper all with the evidence, mess it all up. And then as soon as the good guys, alleged good guys, I'm not going to say our president's a good guy because I don't know, man. Alleged good guys get in there and like, oh, crap. We said we're going to release all this stuff. And they messed it all up and made it look like we're the part of it. This is what the theory is. And that's why he doesn't want to release it and says it's like the Russia thing because they corrupted that too. I'm not saying this is true. I don't know if it's true. They're saying it. Now, that's one opinion. Then there's the other side. So you got this side saying they corrupted all the evidence. It's pointing now to the good guys, and that's why they don't want to release it. Now, the other side is saying, no, actually, he is in the file, and he's guilty. And the reason why he doesn't want to release it is because it'll make him look bad. Now, this is their side. Let me just play this clip, and then I'll kind of comment and sort of, we're going to parse through all this convoluted garbage, okay? It's getting really bad now.
Was okay with appointing a special prosecutor. This was according to John Solomon, who claimed this in an interview.
Any prompting, without me even asking yet, he says, I also think if that has a special prosecutor, that prosecutor should just look at anything credible about Jeffrey Epstein, and let's get this resolved. Let's get the American people the most transparency. Now, what does that mean? If there's a special prosecutor, this gets out of Pam Body's hands, it goes to an independent person. They look at it, they release what they can about it, and they tell the American people whatever the grand jury can squeeze out of it.
Now, this had many people saying, oh, this is great news. This will bring accountability, transparency. Here's Benny Johnson talking about it.
There's been a dramatic.
So, okay, so then CoffeeZilla there goes on to say, well, actually, no, he's not going to appoint a special prosecutor. And so it makes our president look guilty. The way he's reacting makes him look very guilty. But again, there is one thing I can point out. You got to be very careful and look at what you can parse through all this. There's one thing that's super obvious, okay, that a lot of people are missing. There's a couple things people are missing. This is a big one. If our president had went to, of course, that island, we would have known about it a decade ago. Why? Because that entire point of that island was to get stuff on people so that if they ever do something they don't like, they can just bring it out and say, hey, look what this guy did. And then that guy never will be president, ever, because they got all these goods on him.
Yeah.
Because that never happened, that would tell me that he never.
Diane, that was on the news today. Didn't a car drive into a bunch of people in America and run over 30 people?
Went there.
I forgot about that.
So that's why. So this is why I hate about this, because the only people who are going to figure this out are ones who really want to figure it out, who want to be objective, who are smart enough to figure it out. And most of the general public aren't that. Most of the general public have opinions, are biased, and are not, generally speaking, super intelligent. Okay? So this is perfect for those that did do these crimes. If they meddle with the evidence, whoever it is, no one ever gets what they want. You see what I'm saying? It's just like a really annoying type of thing. It's an annoying situation. So what do I think is going on here? So I think, for one, I don't think he went to the island, because we would have known about it a decade ago. Okay, so either he's got friends that are in trouble with this, or maybe they corrupted the evidence,